Hey everybody, how you doing today? I'm going to be showing you guys how FNAF has been influenced by different horror movies and franchises and, etc. So starting off, we got, like just certain design elements that are, kind of obviously based off of certain characters and whatnot. Chucky kind of introduced that whole thing that's alive but shouldn't be alive, doll type thing. The puppet is obviously very reminiscent of Slenderman. Ennard and It, both clowns that end up living in the sewer at some point. The Nightmare animatronics are literally Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously. This one's a little bit less of a definite one. This is kind of just showing that, certain characters have had hooks and stuff. Mason Verger from Hannibal is obvious. He literally looks just like William Afton from The Fourth Closet. Danny and Jack Torrance. Do I even need to say it? So now I'm going to get into the more complex one that you'll kind of need to have seen the movies to understand what I'm talking about. And I'm also going to be talking about how this certain franchise ties into what will likely happen within the next game, Security Breach. So in order to understand what's going to happen in Security Breach, we need to turn to the most famous of horror movie franchises, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. I'm just kidding. It's Saw. Within the last few weeks, I have binge-watched the entire Saw movie franchise, and throughout the whole thing, I've just noticed all of these tiny little uncanny similarities that are just, they can't be coincidence at this point. There's just so many of them. We'll just start out with something simple. A lot of these characters have the same names as certain characters. We have Michael, John, Eleanor, possibly Evan, and that's just scratching the surface of what we got here. Next up, this is kind of obvious, but, the puppet and the puppet. William Afton looks literally just like a combination of these two characters, and you're not going to believe this, but one of them happens to be a serial murderer, and the other one's name is literally William Easton. What the heck? Also, by the way, I think that Peter Outerbridge should easily play William Afton in the film version, or the actor for Mark Hoffman if he got really, really skinny. And so now we're going on to the story elements. In Saw, we have this character, John Kramer. He's a businessman with a wife and an upcoming son, and he loses that son in a freak accident, and then ends up, going on a murder spree and whatnot. Granted, there's a lot more to the story through both of them, but, still basic main premise for, the similarities are uncanny. This killer also has invented certain mechanisms, almost suit-like things, that often will go into the body or around the head of the wearer and end up either tearing into them, tearing parts out of them, impaling them, and, crushing them, much like a certain Springlock suit we all know and love. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the plot of Saw 3, which is quite literally The Fourth Closet. So, in Saw 3, we have a man who is currently being kept alive, just barely, by his assistant / protege. They also happen to be in some weird underground basement type thingy. They also happen to kidnap a woman who they then use to help keep the killer alive. Fancy. Also, third film in the Saw franchise, third book in the Five Nights at Freddy's main book trilogy. Coincidence? I think not. And get this, the incident that kills both of the killer's sons ends up happening within the fourth installment of the franchise. And now going on to what I think is going to happen in Security Breach and why I think it's going to happen. This is the similarity that really got me noticing these similarities. Proteges and followers, Jigsaw has a follower named Amanda. William Afton has a follower named Vanny that then will carry on their work and help them as time goes on. Later within the films, we learn that Jigsaw did not only have one follower, he had multiple followers throughout the films. And I think that is what's going to happen in Security Breach. I think that Vanny is just the start. I think that we are dealing with multiple people running around in bunny suits doing the work of William Afton, being recruited to carry on his work. And anyways, that's all. That's what I got for you. That's how I think Security Breach is gonna end up going. And yeah, see you all in the next one.